Hello! In this video, I'm gonna answer the question, is the ULEFONE Armor X12 still worth it in 2025? Okay, so this little tank of a phone came out in 2023 and now it costs around 70 to 80 bucks. So yeah, it's cheap and it shows. But the main selling point here isn't really the specs, it's durability. Like the name suggests, it's really built like an armor, and if you really want something rugged, and that will be where it shines. For everything else, not so much. Let's start off with software. It launched with Android 13, period. What I mean by the period is that's where we're staying forever. It doesn't get no updates, no Android 14, no nothing. It's the Go edition also, which makes it already a stripped down experience compared to a regular Android. Next, the performance. We've got a MediaTek chip on 12 nanometer tech with just 4 cores. 4 cores isn't awful, but in 2025 it definitely feels outdated. Combine that with 3 gigabytes of RAM and well, the phone is slow, really slow. Even doing something as simple as scrolling through settings can lag. Like, I don't know if I can demonstrate that to you because it's always happening in moments where I don't record, but it does have some lag. It's not the best quality of experience when it comes to that. It's just like experience that is usable, but I even tried turning off animations in developer options. It helped, but only a little. Now storage isn't better. You only get 32 gigs and half of that's gone to the system. Back in 2016 it was fine, but today not even close. Apps are bigger, photos are bigger, everything is bigger, and you'll run out of space really fast. But there's an SD card. You can insert an SD card, which is great. I'm gonna get to that later. Now, surprisingly, the camera isn't as bad as I expected. It's a 13 megapixel shooter that I'd call 2019 good. It takes sharp photos, everything is visible, and while the colors are meh, and there's some grain, it's not terrible. I've seen 50 megapixel cameras on other budget phones that somehow look worse. I'm also gonna get that later. The battery is another area where the phone looks better than it is. You'd think it's a huge because of the thick body, but it's only 4860 milliamp hours. These days most phones, even budget ones, come with at least 5000. So yeah, it's a little underwhelming. And before we get to something interesting that I want to point out in this video, let's actually compare, let's not compare, because there's nothing to compare the photos to, honestly. Like, what am I gonna compare it to? I don't really have a device at all currently that would have a similar standard of the camera, where the camera is good, but for 2019. So there's nothing to compare it to, but I'm just gonna transfer the photos over to my computer and get back to you, and I'll display them on the computer because it's not really good to display it on the screen, right? Okay, so welcome back to my computer. Let's see some photos that I have taken. By the way, I really tried to make these photos as good as I could. Although, that's just what the phone offered. So let's open the first photo. You can see it's not bad. It's overexposed in some places. It's also not the worst. If I zoom in, The graininess, as I said, is pretty visible, but at least the edges aren't overly dramatically sharpened. And it's not the worst photo. Everything is visible, so that's at least great. Now let's get to some photos with more difficult lighting. So I tried doing a photo with just like standard without changing the exposure here, and you can see it is overexposed, but every phone will overexpose this photo. Like, I don't know why, but just every phone that I try to take photos with of these trees will overexpose this hole in the trees. Now if I zoom in, I'd rather not zoom in, but it's also like a solid photo, I think. But as I said, for 2019, actually the sticks here on the tree are pretty visible. Just maybe the background is weirdly blurred. It's not blurred like I would expect it to be. It's just weirdly blurred. So yeah, that's the problem. Now let's get to a photo with change exposure. I know that I went too far with the exposure, but it was really hard to navigate it. The exposure will randomly change itself, and yeah, I think it's because of the processor, most probably. Like changing the exposure was really difficult for this phone. But we can see some detail here. It's not bad, it's not the worst. Now there's also a photo of a plant, of a fake plant. There's some keyboard in the background. We can see it is actually fine, I think. Now the plant itself, it's also fine. It's actually great, I think. In good lighting conditions, we can see some dust here, and it's going really great. So now let's see a selfie of mine. I think I trashed it, but I can still see it. Yeah, it's not the best selfie that I've taken in my life, but yeah, we can see that like here there is some detail. We can see some stuff. Also on my hair, we can see some detail going on here. So yeah, this is a solid photo. We can also see this in the background, the sponges and everything. And the last one is gonna be my laptop with some sponges and the specifications of the phone being opened and the sponges, right? So yeah, it's not the worst camera. It's just for like very quick photos, not really good ones though. Now we're gonna move on to the other part. So here's the thing: if you want a budget phone for super cheap, the Armor X12 makes sense. But if you want literally anything else, I'd go for the HMD Pulse Plus. Same price, but it feels like a proper 2024 phone. You get Android 14, also cannot be upgraded, but it's at least 14 and not the Go version. Now, also an octa-core processor at the same technology of 12 nanometers, but at least octa-core, so that's great. 128 gigabytes of storage, which I think is proper. A 50 megapixel camera, fingerprint scanner, a 5000 milliamp hour battery, and a bigger 6.6 inch display. Basically a phone that actually works for daily use. Also, coming back to the screen, it's worth mentioning that the ULEFONE Armor X12 is just 5.35 inches, which is quite small. Compared to my iPhone 13, we can definitely see the difference. So yeah, and the iPhone 13 itself is quite small by today's standards. Of course, whatever you prefer, but I think just like this phone looks quite big, like it has a very big battery inside, but doesn't. Now, the ULEFONE does have one advantage over it, besides the rugged build. It supports dual SIM and plus microSD at the same time. That's a rare combo and genuinely useful. The HMD only gives you one SIM and one SD slot, but outside of that and the fact that the ULEFONE can probably survive being run over by a car, the HMD Pulse Plus is the better buy in almost every way. So final verdict, unless you're specifically needing a brick of a phone that can take a beating, I wouldn't recommend the ULEFONE Armor X12 in 2025. For the same money, you can get a phone that feels way more up to date. And I hope that you learned something new in my video. I hope that you liked it. And let me know in the comments down below, what decision have you made? Are you getting this phone, or maybe getting the HMD, or thinking about something else? I may assist you if you ask any questions in the comments down below. Also feel free to like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.